We get it. Many Dragon Ball fans don't love GT, so we simply write it off as an alternate Dragon Ball storyline. And while GT has many flaws that we can pick at, there were definitely certain things it did right. In fact, Blackenfist will be joining us in this 10-point breakdown of what GT did best.
Hello there, beautiful friends, I'm Blackenfist, and I'm glad that Qaaman has invited me here. I, of course, infamously made a series of videos on GT, where I mostly focused on the negative aspects. However, over the years I felt like I never really got a chance to say what I actually liked about GT, so this is a great opportunity to finally get those thoughts out. So as we start off with number 10, one thing that I always admired about GT was Goten and Trunks and their characters and how they were handled in GT. Obviously, Trunks got a lot more opportunity to shine because he was very much incorporated into the first arc, and we see this immediately off the bat as he is the CEO of Capsule Corp, which is a very interesting position for Trunks to be in, and something that maybe I think that Dragon Ball GT should have fleshed out just a little bit more. But I think the more dramatic change comes with the character of Goten, because he was definitely the much more innocent of the two. He always seemed like an extremely relatable little boy, rambunctious, wanted to play with his big brother, always wanted to hear the stories of the epic adventures. And to see this naive little boy grow up into a young ladies' man, it almost seems like a much more mundane version of this character, almost as if it could almost be part of a different show. But I do think that one of the greatest things about Goten and Trunks in GT is that you could see this coming if you pay attention to the end of Z. Clearly from that ending, you could definitely see that although Goten and Trunks perhaps train here and there, their heart really isn't in it. The passion isn't there, at least not the way it was for their fathers. You see that they have different interests, and you could definitely see that from the character that was Goten and Trunks at the end of Z to the way they were in GT is a natural progression of both of those characters.
Coming in at number 9, we have Omega Shenron's design, and one truth Dragon Ball fans should admit is how awesome Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru's design of him actually is. Originally inspired by Motomor, the final boss from Dragon Quest VI, Nakatsuru took the most menacing features from Toriyama's design and made a unique Dragon Ball villain. For starters, Omega has 7 negative Dragon Balls on his chest, and it's as if he's wearing a trophy for successfully absorbing all 7 Dragon Balls. And let's not also forget that he has several spikes protruding through his entire body, and these spikes serve no other purpose than to just multiply how intimidating he looks. So if we put the most iconic Dragon Ball villains in a room, who would look the toughest, and who would look like a final villain more than anyone else? Well, considering the fact that Yi Xinglong is based on a final boss from a video game designed by Toriyama, our question is already answered.
Number 8. The end of GT. Part of the reason why this ending left such an impression on so many is because it does give a proper farewell to the characters. It's not only just Goku going away on his next journey, perhaps, but it's him saying goodbye to Piccolo and most importantly Master Roshi and Krillin, which really ties it back all the way around to the very beginning, Goku's first friend, really. But on top of that, we also get the much more cryptic meaning behind the ending. One great example out of many that we could talk about is Goku's clothes. Goku's clothes were given special attention at the ending, especially by Pan and Vegeta. Of course, this gives observant fans the opportunity to speculate. If these are Goku's clothes, what does that mean about the real Goku and how he left? Did he really leave in physical form, or maybe perhaps only in a much more spiritual sense? It's things like this that we didn't really get with the original Dragon Ball ending that did not have a very conclusive feeling. But when you compare the GT ending to the original ending, I honestly think that the GT ending did the theme of passing the torch on even better than the original Dragon Ball ending. The original Dragon Ball ending, of course, wanted to build up this whole thing with Oob about how he was going to be the next generation, the one Goku trained. However, the GT did this so much better in a much more meaningful way by seeing a character that we were with throughout the show, that being Pan, grow old and finally becoming a grandparent of her own, truly seeing the next generation, far removed from the characters of Vegeta and Goku and Gohan and all the characters we knew. When you take all those things into consideration, the mystery, the throwbacks to the very beginning of the series, and even outdoing Dragon Ball Z's ending theme, it's easy to see how this ending, even all these years later, is still remembered fondly by many fans.
And that slides us right into number 7, where we discuss the Universal Spirit Bomb. The Universal Spirit Bomb was literally the perfect way to end the Dragon Ball series in terms of a climactic attack against a supervillain. And when you really think about it, what this actually does for the Dragon Ball audience is that it justifies everything Goku's ever done in his life. Whenever the Spirit Bomb was used in previous times, it was always Goku, Goku's friends, and certain civilians on Earth or throughout nature that donated their energy. And against Majin Buu specifically, it felt like while Majin Buu was a threat to the whole universe, it was really Earth with some gods that helped out. So in reality, every adventure Goku has ever gone on helped unite the universe. You can also look at the Universal Spirit Bomb as a symbol of the universe solving itself from a problem everyone created using the Dragon Balls too much. And when we analyze the buildup of what led to this Universal Spirit Bomb, with Vegeta getting his arm impaled and all of the other Saiyans trying their best to fight against Omega, it definitely really showed and proved how dark and dire the situation was. So when Goku finally got a chance to bring out the Universal Spirit Bomb, everything truly connected together. Especially when we thought Goku may have died from using it.
Number 6. The social interactions. Something that always drew me to GT was knowing where my favorite characters years later ended up. Perfect example is Vegeta and his relationship to Bra, and showing his overprotectiveness of his own daughter in that hilarious scene where those guys were hitting on his daughter and he promptly told him to get lost in his own Vegeta way. And of course, Gohan being one of my favorites, knowing that he had a daughter, he had a child, and I actually did find a lot of interest in Pan just knowing that she was the daughter of my favorite character. We of course can't leave out the two most important characters of GT, Goku and Pan. To see Pan interact with a weirdo of a grandpa who's a 10-year-old, and of course Goku being as juvenile as ever. Slice of life has always been an aspect of Dragon Ball that I've always found excellent. It's something that I've grown to appreciate over the years, and even GT, one of the weakest of all Dragon Ball series, didn't disappoint in this aspect.
But as we climb up to number 5 on our list, we have Goku and Vegeta Jr. Looking at Dragon Ball as a whole, we've always mostly watched the show around our current cast of characters. And when we got a chance to see Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., we finally got a chance to take a peek at what the Dragon Ball world would look like without our main characters, not including Pan, having to be protected by other characters that would inhabit the Earth. And what's also fantastic about Goku and Vegeta Jr. is that we're also getting a chance to see that the Saiyan genes are spreading all throughout Earth even after these many generations. So over the course of years, as we've seen in Dragon Ball Online, Earth will have a population of Saiyan descendants, making it a genetically superior race in many ways. And when we take a look at GT's A Hero's Legacy, we get a chance to see Goku Jr. developed both emotionally and physically as he learns the Super Saiyan transformation and goes on dangerous adventures. And as a result of this, it's like we're seeing the entire Dragon Ball story restarting itself with a new character who is the descendant of Goku, which makes it even better for Dragon Ball fans.
Coming in at number 4, the concept of the Shadow Dragon arc. One could say that the Shadow Dragon arc as a concept might be the very best way to think of a storyline to end all Dragon Ball stories. And the reason I say this is because the Shadow Dragon arc goes back to the idea of what Dragon Ball is. the Dragon Balls. It's been used in pretty much every arc, and something that you could definitely criticize Dragon Ball for being too strong of a plot device for the characters to get out of certain sticky situations. All those things come back home to roost in the form of negative energy, and then how every Dragon Ball is represented with a dragon that must be defeated, and of course them having their own theme. I mean, as our heroes summoned Shenron, instead of being greeted by the Shenron we all know, we're greeted by an evil dragon. And how do we know he's evil? Well, he's smoking a big fat cigar. That's how we know he's evil. Truly one of the greatest ideas ever thought of.
And that segues us perfectly into our number 3 spot on this list of Nova and Eis Shenron. When Eis and Nova Shenron finally came into the Shadow Dragon arc, things really began to intensify. And in terms of personality and dynamic, Nova and Eis worked so well off of each other. Both are very powerful Shadow Dragons, but Eis uses his dark tactics to get Goku in uncomfortable situations that he can't control. And Nova, who's the more noble dragon, wants to fight the fair way. We saw that he had so much respect for Goku that he even bailed him out by burning the ice that Eis put him in so that Goku could have a fair shot. And seeing Goku's relationship develop with Nova was definitely one of the interesting shocks about the Shadow Dragon arc, because you simply would not expect a Shadow Dragon to befriend one of our characters. And in the case of Eis, we could definitely see karma taking place, as all of the cheap tactics he used ultimately bit him back when Goku eventually defeated him. And one of the reasons why this is a strong dynamic is that it forces its viewers to pick a side as to whose methods are more effective. And had Vegeta joined in on that fight to have a tag team battle with Goku against Nova and Eis, that would have been an even sweeter tale.
Coming in at the great number 2, the Super Saiyan 4 transformation. After having the transformations of 1, 2, 3, it seemed that they were kind of getting a little repetitive, and that Toriyama's design skills, I think, were hitting a peak, which is why I think Super Saiyan 4 sticks out. It departs from that design aesthetic. It's something that's tied back to his own heritage, the Great Ape transformation. The transformation is triggered in a much more character-driven way, remembering his family and his friends. The manner in which these characters get this transformation is completely different, and one of the things that Super Saiyan 4 definitely helped with, at least with Goku's situation, is that you finally get to see Goku as an adult. That only just adds an extra layer to the transformation that just makes it much more of a unique thing. Vegeta has always had a bad rap when it comes to the way he attained Super Saiyan 4. People tend to forget that Goku did, although in a very different way, have outside help in attaining this transformation from Pan. Not to mention that Goku also had the assistance of the Kais to pull out his tail for him to even do this transformation in the first place. Something that I don't think we're going to be seeing anytime soon.
But if we were to give a crown to one thing on our list that GT did best, it would be Baby as a villain. One of the best things about his character is that, like Cell, he's not just a villain that is just super powerful. Baby programmed Dr. Mew and all of the machine mutants to gather energy for his resurrection, and he also has to go through the process of taking energy from others and body hopping, going from Goten to Gohan to Vegeta to eventually mature and maximize his potential. So when Baby finally rises to power, we can see the full story of progression that led him to this point, instead of other villains that are just strong because the plot wants them to be. And when we actually take a look at Baby deeper, the Saiyans that existed in GT really had nothing to do with the Saiyan Tough War. But the one of them that had a connection was Vegeta, and it is so fitting for Baby to steal his body out of everybody else, because it's essentially him taking the direct descendant of the man that massacred his race. So when we see our heroes playing Ring Around the Rosie to power up Baby and to make him stronger, and seeing Bulma create inventions that help Baby, it adds even more tension to the situation, because not only does Goku have to defeat Baby, he also has to fight against the inventions in support of his own friends that are helping Baby because they're possessed. And that definitely made the Baby arc and Baby as a villain one of the best things that GT could ever do. And in addition to this video, check out how one fight could have saved GT that goes into what if Vegeta fought with Goku against Nova and Eis Shenron. In addition, you're definitely going to want to check out the was Goku dead at the end of GT theory, or GT's 100-year mystery theory that goes into what happened in that timeline. And until next time,
And I'm Blackenfist, and I'm out, man.